It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from Mallassepät Brewing Company in wonderful Finland. And this is a can of their South West Coast IPA. It's a West Coast IPA coming in at 5.2% ABV. And it's been brewed with Centennial, Lupomax, Amarillo, Columbus, Citra, and the IBU on this is 40 IBUs. It's in a 330 milliliter Red Bull style can. It's got that really cool, what I really like about Mallassepät Brewing Company is that branding. That man there smashing the malt with his lump hammer. Fantastic. Without further ado then, let's get this beer out into a glass and see what we get. They're from Naantali in Finland. There we go. We have a 1 to 2 finger white head. Good levels of carbonation rolling up the side of the glass. It's a relatively clear looking IPA. It's not hazy. It's not one of those kind of New England styles. This is more definite kind of West Coast of America style IPA, or this was probably brewed in southwest Finland with the name of the beer. Let's get the aroma then on this golden amber coloured beer. God, this takes me back. This takes me back to the early days of me personally getting into craft beer, sticking my nose into a Thornbridge Jaipur or a Brewdog Punk IPA. God rest that beer's soul. Absolutely fantastic kind of West Coast, a Westy IPA as we used to call them. So let me get into the beer, and if you're wondering what I'm talking about with West Coast and so forth, I'll talk about that a little bit later on, but let me just taste the beer first. So the aroma is classic kind of grapefruit and lemon, maybe a touch of lime coming through. Very citrusy. Orange peel, fleshy blood orange. Smells fantastic. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Oh yes! Stone the crows. Stone the crows. This is indeed a very typical, very traditional now take on an American West Coast IPA. Wow, yes, definitely. So there's flavours of tangerine, grapefruit, bitter lemon, bitter, fleshy blood orange. It's like biting into those peels, biting into some grapefruit peel, some lemon peel, some orange peel. Spicy pepperiness coming through. Absolutely fantastic. What I love about this style of beer though is the bitterness that follows that grapefruit flavour, that passion fruit that orange peel, that fleshy blood orange. Not so much passion fruit. Passion fruit slipped its way in there somewhere. Definitely more grapefruit, orange peel, lemon peel. But it then goes on to a lovely bitterness, a fantastic bitterness on the back end. But the beer starts off slightly sweet over here. So you get a little bit of sweetness over here. And then you get a lovely, lovely, lovely bitterness over here that just leans the balance. It leans the balance towards bitterness, and it kind of overpowers that sweetness. But you do get a sense of that sweet malt to begin with. Carbonation pushes the beer on the inside of the mouth, releases more of that flavour. It's lovely. It really is. It really is a lovely, lovely, lovely beer. And this is the type of beer that made this channel. So my story goes is that in 2010, I would go to places like Home Bargains, Asda, Tesco, and I would buy for my fledgling YouTube channel whatever was £1. So back in the day, 2010, 13 years ago, you could go in any major supermarket, certainly Home Bargains. I mean, you could go, I remember a time in Home Bargains, you could buy Franciscana and it was £1 a bottle. I remember it clearly. And you could buy Franciscana all of the time for £1 a bottle. Now you're talking 13 years later, of course, inflation. You're talking this stuff's about £2.25 a bottle now. It's kind of over doubled in price. But I'm talking about back in the day, you could buy a beer called Hen's Tooth from Green King. Morelands. I reviewed that on the channel. 6.5% ABV. Cost me £1 in Asda. I still remember that beer. And they would alternate it between the supermarkets. So one week you'd buy a Badger beer for £1. You'd go in another supermarket, there'd be something else. So the competition back then would be what could they sell for £1 on offer. And I based my channel on, okay, let's go with that. Let's just run with what the supermarkets are offering. You can probably say that things haven't changed 13 years later. If a supermarket now comes out with a can of craft beer, then I'm on it. I'm absolutely on it. Things haven't really changed that much. But my point is, out of all of this, I started getting comments from people who were really into their craft beer back in the day. And they were saying, well, why don't you buy from bottle shops? And I had no clue. Why don't you buy some from online beer retailers and bottle shops? And I was like, I wouldn't know what to order. I wouldn't know what to buy. And I wouldn't know what was good. Anyway, a company called... Oh, what were they called? Anyway, they're not in existence anymore, so it doesn't really matter. I can't remember the name of the company. My Brewery Tap contacted me and they said, would you like a box of beer? And I went, yeah, okay. Yeah, absolutely, I'll have a box of beer off you. Thank you very much. And they sent me a box of beer. And in that box of beer, there was a can of Brewdog, a bottle of Brewdog Punk IPA, a bottle of Thornbridge Jaipur, a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, Sierra Nevada Torpedo, a Dogfish Head 60-minute IPA, a Dogfish Head 90-minute IPA, a Flying Dog Raging Bitch, and a Flying Dog Doggy Style. I remember the beers. It was the first time an online bottle shop company contacted me and sent me these beers. So these beers arrived. Now, you're probably all thinking, oh yeah, you can buy Punk. You can buy Punk IPA everywhere now, and you can buy it in blimmin' Lidl, Aldi, Home Bargains, wherever you can buy Punk IPA now. So it's very similar with Thornbridge Dryper. You can buy it in Asda and Tesco, but back in the day, you could only order these beers from specific online retailers, very specialist kind of beers. So anyway, these beers arrive and they blew my mind. They absolutely blew my mind. And they all tasted like this. They all had this wonderful colour, wonderful look to them, wonderful grapefruity taste to them. And I was like, whoa, what is this? And it sent me on a course. It didn't just send me on a course, but it sent the channel on a course of, it opened up different doors and it opened up different avenues. Because back then, there was only, in the UK, there was only a couple of us doing beer reviews on. There was like literally me and there was one or two other channels on YouTube. Literally nothing. And it was a very new, craft beer was a very new thing. It was very kind of like brand new. But it lit up the channel. The channel lit up. By 2013, I was traveling to Poland. I was traveling to Belgium. I was going all over the place. And the channel really kind of like exploded off the back of me. Because there wasn't many eyeballs on craft beer back then. It was about opening doors. It was about getting the word out there. And for someone like Thornbridge, Brewdog, even Magic Rock to some extent when they launched in 2012, they were sending beers to me because they found a little avenue where people might watch and people might order the beer. And it just kind of snowballed from there. Now, of course, craft beer is firmly, I mean, everybody in the whole of the UK now knows of craft beer, don't they? It's not as if it's like a hidden thing anymore, but it's not as if it needs pushing anymore. But anyway, back to this beer. That whole story come about because this reminds me of the very early, really good IPAs that I first started drinking when the channel evolved into what it is today. So I'm going to rate it. Looks great, tastes great, smells great. Fantastic West Coast IPA. Southwest Coast from Mallassepät. I like it enough to give it a Stone the Crows 9 out of 10. It's a 9 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.